Okay. So welcome along to the Friday preview of the Aintree Festival. The very first race on the card. First of all, I'm joined by Alan Doyle, former analyst of the Aldorythem. Alan, good evening.
Hi, Barry.
And I'm also joined by Thomas Coyle, racehorse trainer from Batterstown, County Meath. Good evening, Thomas.
Evening, Barry.
So earlier we caught up with Mike Vince, SAS commentator and racetrack presenter the entire week of the Aintree Festival. And Mike, what way is the ground looking for Friday and Saturday? And what way is it going to be on Saturday for the big one?
This place can dry quickly because we're on the hinterland, and if the wind gets up, it really does dry. So that 10 mil of rain ahead on Monday night, crucial. Ground should be just about perfect, I would think, for the final 2 days. Of course, the Topham gives us the best clues of all over one full circuit of the National on Friday, and then the big race itself on Saturday. But the one thing I have to say to you is that this will not be the venue of the AGM of the Mudlarks Consortium. Those that really want it bottomless with snorkel and flippers to the fore are not going to like the conditions. It's going to be genuinely good to soft. Might have a little bit of soft in it. A perfect jumping ground for the National.
Yeah, so it certainly looks like there will be soft in the description. It's just a matter of how much. And which horses, given the forecast, Mike, do you think that the ground will really suit for this Aintree Festival on the Friday and the Saturday?
The fascinating Friday runner is waiting patiently. Horse that missed Cheltenham, of course, has had a difficult year one way and another, coming to grief in the King George at Kempton, unluckily, and then ran a cracker to finish second at Ascot on its comeback. Is the ground soft enough for Ruth Jefferson's stable star? Perhaps against the likes of Politologue and Min, he's got a real chance. Tom George's Chance God's Own, though I think he's better right-handed. And on Saturday, my two best hopes for the British contingent in the National are Rock the Casbah. You'd love to see Philip Hobbs and Richard Johnson. Neither of them has won it. Both of them hit the crossbar so many times, run a huge race. And possibly Ramses de Tie, if he gets the trip for David Pipe, has been ticking all the right boxes. But the Irish Battalion, and the most interesting one for me, is the fact that Robbie Power rides jury duty, even though Jessica Harrington has a runner in the race.
Yeah, that's perfect, Mike. And once again, very best of luck for the week at Aintree. And we'll catch up before Punchestown. And as you say yourself, keep that halo straight. So the first race on the Friday, we'll look at the Grade 1s, lads. So it's the Betway, the top novices, Grade 1 over 2 miles and a half a furlong. The favourite in here, lads, is joint favouritism between Itchy Feet and Aramon, both at 4-1. Alan, I'll come to you first on this. Itchy Feet, a good third in the Supreme Novices Hurdle behind Classical Dream, who was probably one of the most impressive winners at the Cheltenham Festival. Also, Aramon finished 6th, met a bit of trouble in running. What do you make of the giant favourites here, and have you anything to throw up for this race?
Honestly, I think this is a bit wide open, to be honest. When I had a look at this last night, I couldn't really land on anything. In terms of the pace, I think the pace is going to come from Southfield Stone and Rouge Vif, and they'll potentially contest the pace up front. So I'd be looking at someone in behind, maybe prominent mid-div, somebody who ran well at the Cheltenham Festival. I'd take a chance on Mr. Fisher. And the reason being is that Nicky Henderson has a very good record in the race. Only 3 of the last 12 favourites have obliged in the top novices hurdle. So I take a chance on Mr. Fisher, although he's got others in the race as well. Precious Cargo, Epitante. But yeah, that's my pick, Barry.
Yeah, Epitante probably, I'd say, might not go for this, but yeah, right, what you say, Precious Cargo. Just on Mr. Fisher, Nicky Henderson's assistant trainer, was very keen on him before the Cheltenham Festival. Didn't obviously. The race cut up as the ground was poor as well. A lot of the horses in there. Itchy Feet was one that ran very well. Thomas, for Ollie Murphy, they're expecting a bit of improvement as well for was the slightly better ground here. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Do you know the way I love flying that bead flag, Barry?
Yeah. See, what's it?
It's not flying too high this week.
Sunday, yeah.
Oh, I missed out.
We're skiing.
Yeah.
You were skiing, yeah, in Austria, yeah.
I had a good excuse.
You are.
I'll be there when they're playing Carlow, don't worry.
Yeah, we won't talk about that now. You're going to tip up Felix Deji, are you?
I am, yeah. To me, he's an all-speed horse, and I think this track is going to suit him. He looked turning in. He was going to do something, and he flattened out going up the hill. He walked through the last as well, and he was just nailed on the line for fourth. But if you can remember last year, he ran in the champion bumper as well, and he towed, I think Keith Donoghue, he towed him around. To me, he's a real speed horse, and I think like this race is going to break up. We only have the entries really, so I think he'll sit in and hopefully pounce late, and he could be a bit of value there at 8 or 10 to 1.
When you said he'll sit in, do you expect him to run what, second, third, fourth?
Yeah, about fourth, fifth, and just try and get a bit of cover and get him settled. If we can get him settled, you need to save. You need to be saving your petrol going round. It's like driving a car. If they're keen, it's like driving a car with your foot in the accelerator and the handbrake up as high as it can go, and you're burning petrol. So just get in, bit of cover, and hopefully over them last two on that straight, he can pull them out and maybe chin them on the line.
Yeah, listen, I think he was the subject of an absolute deluge late money for the Supreme Novices. Do you remember that? I think he went from something like 20 to 1 into, I'm not sure what he went off that day. He was definitely touching around 12s, if not 10s.
Yeah, there was a lot of money for him.
Yeah.
There was a lot of money for him late on, and I was thinking, what's going on here? Are we looking at something like a Lebec here for the Elliott table? But yeah, I see your logic. He did flatten out, and he travelled very well. He travelled like the winner, actually. Just turning in from home. Well, obviously, the winner was going very well in Classical Dream. But yeah, I see your logic. Itchy feet for me, Aramon. Can't have either of those. The horse I'd be looking at here is the unexposed one, and that's Southfield Stone. Didn't run in the Supreme at all. Ben Angel's Brett, just a couple of weeks before the Cheltenham Festival. I thought he was very impressive that day. If he lines up here, which it looks like he's going to do, he also has form tied in with a horse that Colin Finlay, our other guest, and that's not on, he'll be on the next night. Colin Finlay loves this Elixir the Nuts. He always talks about the horse. He's form behind him, and I think Elixir the Nuts as well. If we see him back on the track, maybe for the likes of Punchestown, or if we see next season, like he's a quality sort, and I think that Talworth Hurdle and Sandown, Southfield Stone, he's unexposed coming in here, and I think he could be one at 7 to 1. So that wraps up the very first grade one on Friday of the Aintree Festival. So yes, we're going to move on now to the second grade one on Friday of the Aintree Festival. It's the Mildway Novices Chase Grade 1. Top of the game, lads. He's odds on to win this. I thought he was one of the most impressive winners at the Cheltenham Festival. Got an absolute cracker of a ride from Harry Cobden. Thomas, I'll come to you first on this. What did you make of top of the game? Because I know you weren't too keen on him going into the race. And did he win your heart?
He did. To be fair, he done everything right. As you said, great ride. That was a good race. You had Delta Work, who we all fancy. Well, I fancied for Cheltenham, and he bet them fair and square. He was the best horse on the day. Just one horse, and it's a personal interest of my own. Lost in Translation. With a half sister at home, so I've been hoping he'd get his head in front in a grade 1. But I've watched all his races, and I was always saying, when this horse steps up the 3 mile, and it looks like finally he might get his day. Now he will have to be very good to beat top of the game, but that was definitely, the Soil is definitely one of the best novice chasers that's been around, and they've had 3 battles, and he's 2-1 down on the wrong side. But Colin Tizard thinks this is his next Gold Cup horse, so he'll have a fair test against Nichols' horse, so it should be a good race.
Yeah, absolutely. So lots of interest for you in this one then, Thomas. Alan, I'll come to you. You seem to think that there'll be a lot of pace in this race. Top of the game might set it up for him.
Yeah. So Labag Orowa is gone out of the race now, but Top Field Ben, Lost in Translation, Bags Groove, I think they'll all be looking to take a lead. So there should be plenty of pace in it. Top of the game should kind of sit around about mid-div. It's top of the game is obviously a very, very good horse. That was the best for me. That was the best race of the Cheltenham Festival. I was on Delta work, just probably like yourselves, lads.
I'll stop you there.
You were on top of the game, Barry, were you?
He was one of 3 winners for myself at the Cheltenham Festival. Top of the game, and I absolutely outside. I remember where I watched the race. Actually, I watched it under the Don Run statue, looking out on the paddock, and the main big screen. So that's the best view in the house. Looking down on the paddock and looking up at the big screen, and top of the game. I just saw Harry Cobham. You talk about the next Ruby Walsh.
Yeah,
wasn't far off. He was very cool on him.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think, there's 3 very, very good horses crossing that line almost together. Lost in translation, for the last 3 months, all you hear is that horse is crying out for 3 miles, and I think everyone is right. But unfortunately, I think it's the wrong 3-mile race for Lost in translation because of the amount of pace. Unless they decide that riding tactics are different, there's going to have to be a very good horse to come out of the pack to beat top of the game. I can't go against that horse at the moment.
No, I agree with you. I think it's not our sentiment now taking top of the game. I think he's they still haven't got to the bottom of him. If you look at Don Cossack, another big gangly sort that came to the novice ranks, when he ran the RSA, he wasn't the finished article. It took him a season or 2 after that before he actually went on to do what we saw him do. Top of the game, held in similar regard by the Nichols team. Absolute cracker. I think he's the tallest horse in training, 17 hands. He looked to me now, he looked in the paddock that day. He's obviously a fine horse to look at, but he looked like he could still. Thomas, you know more about horse anatomy now, but he looked sort of a lean horse that could still grow and maybe fill his frame more. So the best could be still to come from him.
He's only 7 as well. Like them big horses, and he's by Flemingford. Everyone wants that on his side. He's still probably raw for what he is. He's massive. He looks visually. Now I haven't seen him in the flesh, but he looks an absolute giant. He will improve again for getting out and getting another summer on his back, I'm sure. But look, as much as I want Lost in translation to win, he's going to have his work cut out to beat him from what he done the last day.
To mention 2 other horses at a big price in the race. First of all, Ben Pauling said that Kildazard was stepping up in trip. He said that like a week ago. It came out. It seems to be there's no real money for him in the bet. And if he lined up in this, he is entering in a handicap on the Saturday. If he does line up here, I'd be interested in him maybe as an each way bet against the favourite, just at that price. I won't be back on top of the game at that price anyway. But I'd either leave it alone or maybe back Kildazard each way. Move on now, lads, to the JLT chase. It's the registered as the Melling chase, grade 1. Favourite in here, lads, is Politologue for Paul Nichols. Ran an absolute cracker in defeat at Cheltenham to Altior. So I'll come to you on the Melling chase first. An open looking race, Thomas.
It is, yeah. But Politologue probably looks the horse, so he made Altior pull out all the stops. So he did, and it was a great race, and it just proved to me that Altior, he's as good a horse as we're probably ever going to see. He just doesn't know when to give up. And to be fair to Paul Nichols' horse, he made him pull out all the stops at Cheltenham. Is Ruth Jefferson's horse running in this?
I think he's now. I think he is.
Yeah,
he's still in anyway.
Yeah. He's an interesting horse. There's been so much hype, and he was unlucky, didn't he, unseat at the last with a circuit to go in the King George. There was so much hype kind of about him to run well.
So he did. He was close to favoritism.
Yeah. Now he was second to that horse that is officially rated the best chaser, Paul Nichols. That's surname.
Surname.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he was well bet. But,
surname doesn't go here, of course.
No.
Surname's going to is it Sandown?
Sandown and probably go to Punchestown as well. I think.
Yeah,
that's the way they're leaning with him. But it's a lads. Listen, it's an open enough race.
it is. Yeah,
Wouldn't be one that I'd have a strong opinion on. If Waiting Patiently came back somewhat near his best, because I think he ran below par the last day, albeit beaten by an impressive surname. If it was to put up a selection for it, it would be Waiting Patiently.
it would be great as well for Ruth Jefferson. Like, she took over from the father, and under circumstances, but it would be great for a small yard like that to have a big day.
Well, I was just going to ask, what's the ground forecast to be? Is it? Are they going to water it if it's good?
If it's good, they will water it. Obviously, if it's good, because of they probably water both tracks, both the outer and the inner, the national course. That'll have to be on the safe side. So, it's going to be good to soft. Perhaps soft in places. If the rain comes like it's forecast on Wednesday and Thursday, as we're recording this now on Tuesday night, it may well be good to soft in places. So that'll suit Waiting Patiently. Would you be with Waiting Patiently?
Well, no. I think with Surname going out, I think the track was a negative with Surname anyway, being a left-handed track. I think this could be a rematch between Min and Politolog from last year. Politolog got the ground in its favour last year. If the ground is on if it's good rather than soft, or good to soft, I think Min might overturn Politolog this year. I'd say it's between the two.
It's between the two, yeah, fair enough. Well, let's move on, lads, to the Sefton novices chase. It's the Grade 1 race, the 440 on Friday of the Aintree Festival. Thomas, I want to come to you on a horse called Dallas to Picton, who ran an absolute cracker in the Martin Pipe for Gordon Elliott. He's 7-2, second favourite in here in the race. He ran an absolute cracker in the Martin Pipe.
He did. Yeah,
trapped like the winner.
To be fair, they thought he was going to be another Band Outlaws. I think from the word that was coming from Gordon's, they thought that this was might have been a graded horse in a handicap. It didn't quite work out, but he did run a cracker to finish second in a big field. It's as again, the race will probably break up.
Champ stepping up in trip here is
but for me, that horse travels so well. He can be a handful. Like,
he can,
and to me, it's Barry's going to be at his wit's end to hold him. Like as I said before, is he going to burn up too much petrol? Like he ran a great race in Cheltenham to a horse that I fancied, of Martin Brazel's, that was delighted to see win City Island. But if the horse settles, if he can settle him, he has a great chance.
Yeah, so Thomas, you liked La Bagawa on the Thursday in the 2.5 mile for Warren Greatrix. I don't think he's his best chance at the meeting.
No. Oh, this Emmy Tom, is it?
This Emmy Tom is yet to run in a Grade 1, but he lines up here after skipping the Cheltenham Festival. He ran at Newbury, which is probably too close for him even to be considered. Soft ground, a lovely 5-year-old by Goldwell. He was so impressive the last day. God, he was doing handstands with Gavin Sheehan. I think coming in here, he's a sort of horse as well that I think it's going to take a while to get to the bottom of him. Come into a Grade 1 obviously is a worry, and I wouldn't be inclined to go for a horse who would be first time in a Grade 1 after coming from novice or even maiden company.
The only thing I say about that, and like City Island, actually, I'm just reading this horse. City Island had the exact same profile as this horse, and when horses get it in their head, not knowing how to be bet, and I heard Martin Brazel even saying it after in his interview, like, and he had no qualms about throwing the horse into a Grade 1. When the horse knows how to battle and stay on, and he gets in that winning groove, as they say. Like this, I'm reading through his form here. This horse has been bet in 5 runs, so.
Yeah, no, listen, he's a talented individual. But what you might say about Champ, like, I mean, he ran an absolute cracker as well in the feet. I take your point. Alan, I'll come to you on this one. Can you see anything other than those 3 getting involved here? And I suppose Aintree is a flatter track as well. So over 3 miles over hurdles, it mightn't take as much getting. Well, it doesn't take as much getting as 3 miles in the Albert Bartlett.
Yeah, it's not one of I've got a very strong opinion on at the moment, Barry. I think as we said before, I think this race is going to cut up quite a bit, and that will be tomorrow, Wednesday, when it does. So I'd probably take another look at it tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, I remember on day 1 at Cheltenham, I was sitting in a pub reading the Racing Post, and I was reading the little snippets, and one of the lads travelling with Gordon Elliott was quoted in the Racing Post as saying that Dallas they picked on was a grade 1 horse, shouldn't be in the Martin Pipe, and thought it was their best chance of the week.
He flattened out bad in the finish.
He did, yeah. But I mean, it just shows how much they think of the horse. The other one I heard something about today was this Emmy Tom that Warren Greatrex reckons it's the best horse he's ever trained. So there's some strong word coming out of some of these camps, but I'd like to wait and see until tomorrow and see what the declarations look like.
Fair enough. But I'll take a chance on Emma Tom. I think he's probably one of the most exciting horses to run over the week. An Aintree. More so because of the unknown than anything else. Like a lot of these horses have run, they've excited or they've disappointed at the Cheltenham Festival. This one we don't really know, and we do see horses coming into Aintree that they haven't been recognised, I suppose, on the map at Cheltenham, like, because they haven't run there. It has never been the plan for them to run there. The horses can come up out of the blue, as we've seen time and time again at Aintree. So. Thomas, if you were to pick one, who would you go for in this one?
I would give Gordon's another chance. I'd stick with him. Dallas picked on. He travels so smoothly into the race. I'd give him one more try.
That's a wrap for Friday of the Aintree. Sorry, for Friday at the Aintree Festival. Just quickly, Thomas, you've a runner tonight in Dundalk. Georgian Bay.
Yeah, Friday. Yeah, we're lucky enough. We got to claim him a couple of weeks ago from Aidan McGuinness's when he won. The horse seems in good form. He's in a claimer again. The only worry is he's never run over 1.5 miles. He won over 1 mile, 2.5 the last time, so it's a furlong and a half extra. But he seems in good form. We're best in on the weights, so. We definitely have a good chance, hopefully, of getting from a first runner a winner up in Dundalk, hopefully this weekend.
Do you know who rides him yet, or?
We're just waiting on a few things. Because we're well in, we want to see our other people claiming off their horses before we nail down a jockey. So
interesting stuff, and of course, a man not too far from yourself. I mentioned to Mr. Nigel Slevin as well, who had a nice winner in Dundalk on Friday night gone.
Yeah, Nigel's a good friend of mine. He was actually out skiing with me at the weekend, and we watched the race. The horse won well for them, and great for connections as well. Rob and Tom Connolly, I actually trained. My first winner on the track was for Rob and Tom as well. So them red and white colours they're very lucky, and they'll always be special to me anyway.
Absolutely. And listen, very best of luck on Friday with Georgian Bay, Thomas.
Thanks,
Alan, as well. I want to thank you as well just for coming on with us, and brilliant to have you on. And best of luck with Aldorythem, and you'll be on in the next couple of weeks, maybe to give us more insight into the software and how it's progressing. Brilliant.
Thanks a lot, Barry.
Thanks very much, lads, and we'll see you in the next week.